What actually happens to your brain when you put down your phone for a week? Not the inspirational version, the neuroscientific one. What changes, measurably, in the brain's reward circuitry, attention systems, cortisol levels, and capacity for deep cognitive work when the constant input stops and the nervous system is given something it may not have had in years: genuine, unstructured quiet? The research is more specific and more interesting than most digital wellness content suggests. Disconnecting does not simply make you feel better. It produces documented, measurable changes that begin within hours and compound significantly over the first week. But it also produces something most people don't predict: a withdrawal period that looks neurologically almost identical to substance withdrawal, because the mechanism being disrupted is the same. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what happens to the brain during a genuine digital detox. 7 specific dimensions covering the dopamine system, the withdrawal period, attention restoration, cortisol recovery, sleep architecture, and what sustainable digital design actually looks like on the other side. Stay especially close when we reach Dimension 3, the default mode network recovery, because Dimension 3 explains what happens to creativity, insight, and integrative thinking when the brain is finally given the unoccupied time it needs to do the work that constant stimulation prevents, and why this is among the most valuable things a digital detox produces. Dimension 1: what chronic digital overstimulation does to the dopamine system. The neurological cost of chronic digital overstimulation is not a hypothetical. It is the documented consequence of the same dopaminergic dysregulation that other forms of behavioral and substance addiction produce. Every notification, every new post, every unpredictable reward from the social feed activates the brain's dopaminergic reward circuitry, specifically the nucleus accumbens and the mesolimbic pathway that signal the anticipation of reward. As explored in the dopamine trap video on this channel, the variable reward schedule of social media is the most powerful behavioral conditioning mechanism available, producing the same compulsive engagement as a slot machine and, over time, the same recalibration of the baseline. The brain adapts to chronic overstimulation by reducing dopamine receptor sensitivity, turning down the gain on its reward processing to maintain equilibrium. The result is the familiar flatness. Ordinary life becomes understimulating. Tasks that don't carry the same novelty and reward density as digital content become difficult to initiate, and the baseline level of stimulation required just to feel normal continues to rise. This is the neurological problem that a digital detox is actually addressing. Not a bad habit, a recalibrated reward system that needs time without the overstimulation to reset toward a baseline at which ordinary experience can again generate sufficient response. Dimension 2: the first 48 hours, withdrawal, and what it means. The first phase of a genuine digital detox is, for most people who have been in sustained, high-frequency digital engagement, uncomfortable in ways they did not anticipate. Restlessness, difficulty concentrating on anything without external stimulation, the persistent, almost physical urge to check, not because there is anything specific to check for, but because the checking behavior has been so thoroughly automated that its absence produces a felt sense of incompleteness. This is withdrawal, not metaphorical withdrawal, neurological withdrawal. The dopaminergic system that has been operating at elevated stimulation levels is encountering a significant reduction in input, and the recalibration process produces, in the short term, the discomfort of a system that expected stimulation and didn't receive it. Neuroscientist Anna Lembke at Stanford, whose research on dopamine and addiction was explored in the dopamine trap framework on this channel, identifies this withdrawal period as the necessary first phase of genuine dopamine reset, the period during which the brain's sensitivity to ordinary reward begins to recover toward baseline. It typically peaks within 24 to 48 hours and diminishes significantly over the first week. But the discomfort of this phase is the primary reason most attempted digital detoxes fail before the recovery becomes perceptible. Dimension 3: the default mode network recovery, the return of the quiet mind. As the withdrawal period passes and the nervous system begins to recalibrate, something begins to happen that most people describe as one of the most unexpected and most valuable effects of genuine disconnection: the return of a quality of mental experience they had stopped noticing the absence of. The default mode network, the neural system involved in self-referential processing, creative connection-making, memory integration, and the kind of unfocused mental wandering that produces insight, is suppressed during active engagement with digital content. The constant external stimulation occupies the attentional systems in ways that prevent the default mode from doing its work. During a digital detox, with the external stimulation removed, the default mode network begins to recover its baseline activity level. Thoughts start to develop over longer time horizons. Connections between unrelated ideas begin to emerge. The specific quality of mental experience that most people associate with creativity, with insight, with the feeling of having a genuinely active inner life begins to return. Research by Mary Helen Immerdino-Young at USC, whose work on the default mode network and its role in meaning-making and self-understanding, found that this recovery has implications beyond creativity. The default mode's work includes the processing of social and emotional experience that sustained attention to external content prevents. The person who is always consuming is never processing. The detox creates the conditions in which the processing can finally occur.
If you have been considering a digital detox and are now reconsidering the first 48 hours, like this video right now. And write in the comments, the discomfort of disconnecting is the withdrawal. The boredom is the reset. Because naming those two phases accurately is what makes surviving them possible. They are not failure states. They are the mechanism. Write it. Dimension 4. Cortisol and the nervous system. The stress physiology of disconnection. Chronic digital engagement does not only affect the dopamine system, it maintains a baseline of low-grade stress activation that chronic cortisol elevation produces, the same physiological state associated with other forms of chronic stress and its long-term neurological consequences. Research by Kostadin Kushlev and Elizabeth Dunn at the University of British Columbia found that participants randomly assigned to check their phones less frequently, limiting to 3 specific times per day rather than responding immediately to each notification, showed significantly reduced cortisol levels and significantly higher reported well-being compared to participants who maintained their habitual checking patterns. The mechanism is the interruption cycle. Each notification is a micro-interruption, a small but genuine activation of the orienting response, the attentional system that evolved to detect environmental change as potential threat or opportunity. Under conditions of frequent notification, this system is chronically activated, not at the level of acute stress, but at the level of sustained low-grade alertness that, accumulated over hours, produces the specific exhaustion of a nervous system that was never fully at rest. During a digital detox, the interruption cycle stops. Cortisol levels, relieved of the chronic stimulation that was maintaining them, begin to decline. The nervous system moves, often for the first time in extended periods, toward genuine parasympathetic activation, the physiological state associated with rest, recovery, and the specific quality of calm attention that neither anxious vigilance nor digital stimulation can produce. Dimension 5. Sleep architecture recovery. One of the most reliably documented and most practically significant effects of digital detox is on sleep.
The mechanisms are multiple and well-established. Blue light exposure from screens in the hours before sleep suppresses melatonin secretion, delaying sleep onset and reducing the depth of slow-wave sleep that the early part of the night should produce. The emotional and cognitive activation of social media content, the comparison, the conflict, the never-ending novelty, primes the nervous system for continued processing rather than the deactivation that sleep requires. and the habitual final checking of the phone before sleep installs at the neurological threshold of rest a cue for the very engagement pattern that sleep is supposed to interrupt. Sleep researcher Matthew Walker at UC Berkeley, whose work on the function of sleep has established it as one of the most important active processes the brain performs, has documented that REM sleep, the stage most disrupted by pre-sleep screen use and most associated with emotional processing, memory consolidation, and the maintenance of psychological well-being, is the stage that digital habits most consistently compromise. During a digital detox, with screen use removed from the pre-sleep window, sleep latency decreases, REM proportion increases, and the specific quality of morning wakefulness, the cognitive clarity, the emotional stability, the sense of actually rested, improves in ways that most participants describe as among the most immediate and most valued effects of the entire experience. Dimension 6. Attention restoration, what genuinely restores the capacity to focus. Attention restoration theory, developed by environmental psychologists Rachel and Stephen Kaplan at the University of Michigan, provides the most evidence-based framework for understanding what genuinely restores directed attention capacity after it has been depleted. The Kaplans identified 4 characteristics of restorative environments: fascination that captures attention effortlessly without the directed effort that depletes it; being away, the sense of psychological distance from the demands and contexts that require directed attention; extent, sufficient scope and depth to engage the mind fully without requiring evaluation; and the compatibility with the individual's restorative purposes and inclinations. Natural environments satisfy all 4 criteria most reliably, which is why time in nature during a digital detox produces significantly more cognitive restoration than equivalent time in urban or indoor environments. The effortless fascination of natural settings, the movement of water, the complexity of foliage, the sounds of wind and wildlife, engages the involuntary attention that the Kaplans identified as the restorative mode, allowing the directed attention system to recover without being called upon. Research by Gregory Bratman at Stanford found that 90 minutes of walking in a natural environment significantly reduced rumination, the self-referential negative thought that the overactive, stressed mind produces, and reduced neural activity in the subgenual prefrontal cortex, a region associated with depressive rumination. The same walk in an urban environment produced neither effect. Dimension 7. What sustainable digital design looks like. The research on digital detox does not support permanent disconnection as either feasible or necessary. What it supports is the deliberate design of a digital environment that provides the genuine benefits of connectivity without the neurological costs of the high-frequency, variable reward, always available engagement model that current platform design optimizes for. The specific design principles that the research most consistently supports: temporal batching of digital engagement, defined periods for checking and responding with genuine offline periods between them; notification management, reducing incoming interruptions to those that are genuinely time-sensitive, eliminating the reflexive checking that notifications provoke; physical separation at specific times, phones out of bedrooms, out of meals, out of the first and last 30 minutes of the day. These are not austere constraints. They are the environmental design interventions that restore the neurological conditions, the attention capacity, the dopamine baseline, the cortisol regulation, the sleep quality that chronic high-frequency digital engagement progressively degrades. They are, in the framework of B.J. Fogg's behavior design research, friction interventions, the introduction of small amounts of resistance that interrupt the automaticity of the engagement habit without requiring willpower at each instance. The goal is not a life without technology. It is a life in which technology is a chosen tool rather than a running process. in which the engagement is deliberate rather than compulsive, and in which the brain is the user of the device rather than the other way around. 7 dimensions. What chronic digital stimulation does to the dopamine system over time. The withdrawal period, its neurological basis, and why it is the mechanism rather than a failure. The default mode network recovery and the return of the quiet mind. Cortisol in nervous system recalibration as the stress physiology of disconnection. Sleep architecture recovery in what it produces. Attention restoration theory in what genuinely restores the capacity to focus. And sustainable digital design, the specific interventions that preserve the benefits of connectivity without the neurological costs of compulsive engagement. Your brain is recoverable. The recalibration is real, and it begins not with a perfect system or an indefinite retreat, but with the willingness to give your nervous system, for a defined and manageable period, the one thing it cannot recalibrate around: the absence of the stimulus that is preventing the recovery. Put the phone down. Not forever. Long enough. The discomfort is the withdrawal. The boredom is the reset. And on the other side of both is a quality of attention, a depth of experience, and a baseline of calm that the screen was always promising to provide and was specifically designed to keep you searching for. If this video gave you something real, share it. Subscribe to this channel for weekly deep dives into the neuroscience and psychology of how the mind works, how it gets disrupted, and how it finds its way back. Your attention is the most valuable thing you own. The platform that has it right now knows that better than you do. It's time to know it better than they do.